everyone. This is Han Wen at the Energy Coalition. Thank you for tuning in today. So today I'm really excited to introduce you the next installment of our My Energy Future webinar series, where STEM professionals, as science, technology, engineering, and math, tell you a little bit about what they do and how they got there. So today our speaker is Jessica Leal Cruz. She will be sharing her story today with you guys. And thank you for joining us, Jessica. Take it away.
Thank you for the introduction. So hi everyone, my name is Jessica, and like Han said, I'm going to share a little bit about my story and kind of my alternative career path. Okay. So like I said, my name is Jessica Leal Cruz, and currently I work at Edwards Life Sciences. We are a medical device company that makes products for people with structural heart disease. I'm currently in the clinical and regulatory development program. So this is a program where I get to rotate between different jobs in the clinical and regulatory affairs. And to kind of give you background as to what that is when there is a medical product that we want to put on the market and into patients and be able to sell this product, before any of that happens, we have to make sure that we are following laws and regulations that the governments put up. And so in order to do that, we create two departments called clinical affairs and regulatory affairs to make sure we are demonstrating that our products in fact save lives and don't hurt people. So that's what my company does. We save hundreds of thousands of lives every day by giving them our devices. And so one of those devices that is well known is our heart valves. So it's really great how we can be able to create an artificial heart valve in order to make sure that people's hearts are working and functioning great. And it's really nice because we even have something called Patient Day, where we actually get to bring the patients on site and they get to meet the people who actually sewed their valves. And people who work here have all types of backgrounds, both in the medical field and engineering. So I actually came from the engineering background, and I joined clinical and regulatory affairs because I thought it would give me a really great exposure to the medical device industry and how we actually get products into patients and out in the market. And so in my first rotation, I'm doing clinical vendor contracts. So for our clinical trials, which is basically this big experiment to show that our products are helping patients. And so what I do is, for every clinical trial, we need people to perform services for us, whether it be reading scans that we make or providing software for us. So I'm responsible for making sure those vendors get qualified via our systems. And we make sure that we also put together contracts that that show what they are going to do for us in that clinical trial. So yeah, it's really great to be part of a company that is saving lives every day, and to actually see our patients come in, much happier and healthier than how they were before. So next, just a little bit about me and where I'm from. So I was raised in Pomona, and I've been there all my life. My parents are still there too. I left Pomona when I went to college and I came to Irvine, but Pomona is a great city. It's a really awesome how I was surrounded by people from different cultures, primarily the Hispanic culture. If you ever go to Pomona, I highly recommend you go to the LA Fair. It's really close to where I was, and so that was something my family and I did annually. I come from a very diverse Hispanic background. So my mom was Salvadorian, my dad was Mexican, and my stepdad was Venezuelan. So it was really awesome to be exposed to so many Hispanic cultures, and really each one of them are different, from the foods to how people act to what they talk about. It's really nice to have gotten that exposure, and I really recommend that you try all of our foods because it's awesome. I came from a family of mostly dentists, doctors, and nurses. So as a kid, I actually got exposed to a lot of the medical industry and dental industry, and when I wasn't in school, I actually got to go home as a kid and or go to my parents' offices and got to play with some of their instruments. So that was really fun as a kid, just getting exposed to science, to dentistry. Um, they weren't always too happy that I decided to go the engineering route. I'm actually the only engineer in my family, so it was really difficult for them to actually let me try a different field. So that's also a little bit a part of the reason why I'm here now, is that I really had to follow my dreams. And even if my family wasn't entirely okay with it at first, but because I succeeded and I've been able to show them that, I have a good career, they've been much more supportive and understanding. And I'm actually getting to educate them a little bit about how our industry works and how engineering works and all that. So I've always had a love for science and math. I think I accredit that a lot to my family, and just being always exposed to different things within the dentistry and medical industry. And so you can see a picture of my graduation, my brother, my sister, my stepdad, my mom, and a few of my aunts and my uncle. And that was a great day. I was actually the commencement speaker at my graduation, so it was a really great testament to all the work I had put in and the background that I came from. All right. So some things I love to do. So I've always loved to dance. When I was in second grade, I was actually on a hip hop squad, and I remember telling all my friends about it and making everybody join because I, wanted them to love it too. So I did that for a couple years. And I kind of was just not in a team for the rest of my career until really now. So when I got into college and as I exited college, I did a lot of salsa, bachata, cumbia, and it's just something that I've loved doing. One, because it's good exercise, and two, because it's been just really fun learning new dances, and three, because it I think brings me in touch with some of my culture, some of other cultures. I think it's actually motivated me to want to go travel to different countries where some of these dances originated from, places like Havana, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico, even visit El Salvador, where my grandparents are from. So I really love to dance, and there you can see me dancing with my current boyfriend. He's took that picture with me while I was dancing. Another thing I've always loved is chemistry. So as I'll show you later, I studied material science and engineering, which is a really new field within engineering, and I'll get to talk about that a little bit more. I definitely encourage everyone to check it out because it's really really interesting. But as a kid, I always had the Everything Kids science experiment books, and I always played with them or try to do weird experiments at home. It was really funny as a kid. My mom would always be like, where are the eggs, or where's all the oil, and I'd be just using like things from the kitchen to come up with some of these weird experiments. And as a kid, my parents also took me to a lot of museums, not just here in California, but in other places. And so I always had this a lot of experiences with different science museums or science experiments or anything related to science. My parents always made sure to expose me to those things. And also cooking. So I really find that cooking has a lot of chemistry in it. And I know that's pretty nerdy, but I've always loved watching my mom cook, and how like something as simple as spices and oil and things from nature can come up with something really awesome to eat, but just the different ways that things transform. And it's really funny to kind of been able to associate that with chemistry. So chemistry has always been about an activity that I'd like to engage in. So yeah, that's some things that I like to do. So I went to the University of California, Irvine, and like I said, I studied material science and engineering, and this different type of engineering where we study polymers like plastics, we study ceramics like glass, and we study metals and alloys and things like that, and we try to understand them in order to make brand new ones or to improve them. So I really encourage everyone to look into this major. It's brand new, not a lot of people know about it, and what was really nice was that because it was a relatively new science, we were able to have classes of less than 30, often less than 50. And if you go to a big school like the University of California, Irvine, you'll see that your classes can be as large as 300, 200 people. So it's really nice when you have smaller classes and a more focused discipline, because the professors are definitely a lot more engaged with you and are really invested in your education. Another huge thing I did while I was in college was I was part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. This was really my family away from home, and it was a really great organization that provided professional development for me, networking opportunities. It was actually through this program that I was able to find out about the internships that I had and even the job that I had now. A lot of the people who helped me get to where I am now have come or stemmed from this organization that I've been a part of. And actually now graduated, I get to plan our regional conference here in Irvine. So that's kind of a little side project I've been doing, and I'm really excited to see that happen. But while I was in school, I was my junior year the external vice president, and then my senior year I was the president. And I just learned a lot of skills through being a leader in SHIP, which is the short name for it. And what I learned was a lot of skills that I'm not going to learn in the academic setting or in the classroom. You know, I learned how to have tough conversations. I learned how to lead people, how to organize, how to delegate. And these are all skills that we don't realize, but when we go out and work, we are going to need, and they become really effective in helping us move up the ladder and be really productive in our job. So I really encourage people to join or to be part of leadership, because you're going to learn all these skills that you know, they don't teach you in the classroom, and these skills will help you not only do well in your career, but be able to move up and grow as a person. Another thing I did was I was a student researcher in a lab. So I worked under Professor Alon Gorodetsky in my last 2 years. And we did really cool things. So we actually took DNA or like, you know, things in the blood of squid, and we tried to use that to make protein that could help us change colors of materials we were making. It's really interesting things that we were doing. You know, it's really very sci-fi things that you know, I couldn't believe that we were doing, but it was a really fun experience, and really got some hands-on experience. So in the classroom, you're learning with textbooks, you're doing a lot of reading and writing and solving problems, but it's really nice when you do research, because you actually get to apply what you learn, and you get to be in this laboratory setting with other graduate students. And that was a huge motivator, because it exposed me to something that I wasn't getting in the classroom. And all the experiences I had at UCI, from, you know, being in SHIP to being a student researcher, and being a real advocate for students of low-income communities to be in engineering and STEM, is what motivated me to kind of be a role model too within my school. So UCI engineering had never had a Hispanic woman as a speaker at commencement for the engineering ceremony. And so I thought it would be a really great opportunity to talk about the disparities in engineering and science. There's not as many women, there's not as many Hispanics in these areas. And so to be an advocate for that, I really thought it would be great to be the commencement speaker. So I actually went through some tryouts, and I went through an application, and I couldn't believe it, but I got selected, and I spoke in front of over 3,000 people. I didn't even tell my parents, so they found out when I got up there. So it was a really great opportunity to just give a voice to some of those backgrounds that are not well represented in these areas. And I definitely think that anyone who can speak up and be a voice for any disadvantaged background is great to take on those opportunities. And it was definitely scary, and it was definitely challenging, but it's a moment I don't think I will ever forget, or my parents will ever forget. So I'm very thankful that I took on that challenge. All right. So to get here, there were a lot of lessons learned. I think the biggest one was to just be unforgivably confident. And what I mean by that is to not be sorry about being confident in a classroom, like raising my hand and raising it up real high, and being proud of the fact that, I don't have all the answers, but I'm going to give you the best that I've got. And I think that a lot of times, women and even people from Hispanic backgrounds, they don't speak up, or they feel like they don't know the exact answer. And a lot of the times we actually do have the right answer. And so something I had to learn was just to kind of be confident in who I am and be confident in what I know, and to really speak up for myself. Another one was to, take on risks and challenges. A lot of times you're faced with a lot of scary obstacles, and you don't know if you have, the guns to do it. But, I say, the worst thing you could do is not take on a challenge and not know if you could have done it or not. And the worst thing really when you're in college that anyone could say to you is no. And that's just a word. It's not gonna hurt you. It's just gonna make you want to have to take another challenge later on. And so, yes, plenty of times I took on challenges and was told no, but that's okay. I moved on, and I proceeded to the next challenge. And so that has taught me a lot about, getting down and then getting back up. And it made me, I think, a stronger person. It made me, I think, more confident in the things that I did and was able to accomplish. Another thing I had to learn was, how to be a leader. A lot of times leaders are dependent on other people to, be as committed to the team. And as a leader on campus, that was really it. How do I serve my board of members, and how do I get them motivated to perform and to achieve their own goals? And some ways that I did that was by being an example myself. I think the best way to be a leader is to lead by example. So that is a lot of skills that I had to learn in order to be a leader. Another thing I had to learn was to find mentors. There are a lot of key players or people in my career who have helped me along the way, who have taught me things that I wouldn't have been able to learn alone. So I really had to learn how to identify multiple people, not just one person, to be mentors for me, to help me and guide me in the direction that I needed to go in order to succeed in my career. And lastly, I had to learn a lot of problem solving and communication. I think that if you can be a problem solver and a good communicator, you could really get through any obstacle that is in front of you. These are skills that you learn by trial and error, that you learn by taking on challenges, that you learn by being on teams. And these skills are so transferable in a job setting. I work with teams all the time in my job. I problem solve all the time in my job, and just being able to, really think about, how do I find the best solution for the obstacle that I have in front of me? So these are just a few of the things I had to learn to kind of get to where I am. All right. So finally, my advice to you is, similar to me, be confident. Be confident in who you are, be confident in what you have to offer. Just be confident in yourself, and you'll see that just having this simple confidence will help you get to anywhere that you set your mind to. Find mentors. Use this video as a sense of mentorship to, give you some guidance of maybe an opportunity to explore, a school to explore, a career to explore. Find people that will guide you in the right direction and really advocate for you to do better, and to succeed in whatever career you set your mind to. I also encourage you to take on challenges, to face your fears, and to really do things you never thought you could do. And you might surprise yourself. You might see yourself one day and find in front of 3,000 people giving a speech. And then once you have accomplished those things, you'll see how amazing it was, how it felt, and all the things that you learned because you decided to take on that challenge. Another thing is to have fun. I mean, college was hard, and taking all these challenges was hard. It wasn't easy, but if you have fun with it, if you find people that will motivate you and drive you, your challenges will be a source of comfort and places where you'll find a lot of joy. So, enjoy what you're doing. Always try to do something that makes you happy. Because I think when you're doing something that makes you happy, it's not work anymore. It's just, you're working on something that is fun. And lastly, give back. So I feel like it's really important that as you move up in your career, as you become more and more knowledgeable, that you give back to your community, to people who see you as a mentor, to other students, to your siblings. I think this has been a big theme in my life is, I'm the oldest grandchild and the oldest sibling. And so like that, and because of that, I try often to mentor my own siblings, my own cousins, and students who came after me. So it's really important to give back after achieving anything or after learning something new. And kind of another last piece of advice I want to give is this quote that I thought about, that I saw it last year, which is, when you feel like stopping, think about why you started. A lot of times when you're coming up against challenges, you realize, it gets hard, it's tough. And so you got to think about why you started. Is it because you want to show that your parents, worked hard for a reason? Do you want to do it because, you were motivated from the beginning because this is something you're passionate about? Really think about why you started. And I feel like that has always been a good motivation booster for me when I'm getting through something tough. But yeah. So like I said, again, I really encourage you to be all these things and to pursue your passions, because you never know where it might take you. All right. Thank you.
That was great, Jessica. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. I really love your confidence and your ability to speak up to both the Hispanic community and as a woman. So now I have a few questions, a few student questions that I would like to share with you. So our first question is from West Park Elementary School in Irvine, California. So they ask, what's the most difficult thing about your job?
Okay, so the most difficult thing about my job is, I would say I work constantly with different teams, and some of these teams I barely meet the first time I engage with them, or I've known them for a long time, and it's really about, the hardest part is really trying to adjust to those teams, the way they work, what their mindset is. And So even though this is difficult, having to adjust to different people and to different teams, because everyone's different, right? And everybody reacts differently. Everybody has a different style of doing things. And so what I've learned is to just be like, again, like I said, a really great communicator, making sure that I understand the person that I'm working with and that they understand what, me and what I need from them, or making sure that I understand what they need from me, and always just having, a point of clarity. It's always good to just make sure that um, you're communicating effectively and that um, you're working well together as a team. So it's definitely a challenge to try to get used to different personalities and different people. But again, like if you're a good communicator, these things become easier and easier as it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So our second question is from California Elementary School in Orange County, California. They ask, when did you know that you want to be an engineer, and how did you know?
Yeah. So this is actually a funny story. So I didn't know that I wanted to be an engineer really until very close to the end of my high school career. Everyone just told me, you're good at math and science. You should either be an engineer or a doctor. And just from experience and seeing my mom and my grandparents being dentists, I realized early that being a dentist or being at a hospital or was not really where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. It was just not something I was fond of. So I was like, okay, let me try engineering. And it's actually really funny at first. My parents were like, engineering, like what is that? I don't know if that's a good career for you. And they were very hesitant for a long time. But it wasn't until really showing them that engineering is a good field for me, and I kind of realized that it was the best field for me, when I got to college and I was exposed to this class where I made a quadcopter with a team, and I just loved it, like being able to work with my hands, being able to communicate with others. I just really felt like it was a good place where, again, like my parents, I'm helping people, but I'm not the ones directly working on someone. I'm creating basically the devices or the products that help our doctors help others.
Okay, so that's it for our student questions today.
All right.
Thank you, Jessica, again. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with our students?
Yeah, just one last one, again, going back to, really following your passions. A lot of people may not agree, or there may be people that may not agree with, what you think your passion is. And I just encourage you to always still pursue it and look into it and talk to people in that field that you're interested in, because you never know what you may find there. So again, I encourage you to be confident in your decisions and to really pursue your passions.
That's great. Thank you so much again, Jessica, for taking the time to share your story with us today. And also thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. We have a lot more great speakers who will be coming to share with you. And I also hope that you tune in next time.